Welcome to South Sudan. Today, my name is Miyong Kwant. You are watching us live in the United States. We are coming live from Omaha, Nebraska, and I want to welcome all our viewers, wherever you may be. We have great topics tonight. Some of them are very sad, some of them are very encouraging, and some will come from you. We will be discussing a lot about our country tonight, and most part of these discussions, we cannot bypass one of the tragedies that happened in the United States in South Sudan, the judicial killing of those 4 rebels that were executed on Monday, probably. We're not sure exactly what day, but it's on Monday. And this is very hardening. It's not what they have done, but it's how they get killed. They are humans, they are our brothers, they are our parents, they are our children, and it should not and never happened in a republic that is independent like our country. But we will discuss more about that. And this program will not show those graphics. You have seen them enough, but it will show you part that we will need to discuss. On top of that, I want to greet each and everyone who is coming, wherever you may be, whether you're in the United States, Australia, Canada, or back home in Africa, specifically in South Sudan. So we will invite people, but specifically those with technical know-how to help us digest what has just happened in our country. I will bring a psychologist who will explain what actually we are seeing, because many of us, we don't know what we are watching. We are very emotional. Do you know that it can affect you wherever you are 10,000 miles away from where this happened? That is one. Second, we need someone that will also dissect with us about why and who is responsible and how can this be stopped. These are the questions that we will be answering when we start our show. Let me know if you can hear me very well. I'm not sure, I have not checked my audio very well, but if you cannot, let me know, then I will readjust. For now, I give you a little more music, and that is the question there. Extrajudicial killings in United States, South Sudan is a crime against humanity. The question is, who is responsible? We will be right back.
Today we are free. Oh yes, we are free at last. Freedom has come today. We had a dream, burning like a fire. Yeah, dream has come true today. We are believers, believing in the struggle. Yeah, dream has come true today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing. We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. Sing it loud. We are free at last. Remember the day, a day of jubilation. Freedom has come today. Salute the martyrs, salute the warriors. Freedom has come today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey,
Welcome to South Sudan. Today, my name is Myong Kont. Again, you are watching us live in the United States. We will be talking about the judicial killings in the United States. And like I told you, we will not show a lot of graphics because you have seen it already and you have seen it a lot. But it's a time to explain why, what is happening in our country. We have experts that will bring this to you and will make it much understandable. We will also try to let the non-Nuer speakers understand what that brave man was saying just a few minutes before he died. Just give me another 30 seconds. I will bring my guest to you. Bear with us. Our show will start right now. Welcome to South Sudan. My name is Myong Kwan. Like I've been telling you, here are my guests. To my right, I don't know what would be your left where you are, is Dr. John Schwalbach from San Diego, California. He's a doctor and also an expert in psychology. He will be the person that will be responsible to break down of what was the mind of those people who were killing their own brother. What was in their mind? What were they thinking in that movement? And plus, all of us who have seen this video, we don't know what is happening with us because we are angry, we're emotional, and we are sad. And at the same time, we don't want what happened. So someone like Dr. John will be able to explain that further, what really was happening there, and then we'll go to political part of it. Why and how can this be stopped? Also on the low screen here is Dr. Galwata Thaj from Tennessee, the man that will always be in us all the time since day one. He's a co-anchor with me as well. When I'm not there, he pick it up instantly. And he will actually bring down and explain further in a leadership angle. And not only that, also has someone who not only from that community, but also from the same country, and will explain what went wrong before that horrific killing happened. What is happening in our country? Dr. Thatcher will be able to help us in a very soothing way. So for that, I want to welcome our brothers and our educators who have been giving us a lot in our community. I will be facilitating everything that we'll be talking about here. And on top of that, for our viewers, if you are here with us and you are interested and you have a technical know-how, and I will quote again, and you have a technical know-how or you have something that you can help us with, our community, our country is, the entire world is shocked with this video. Dr. Thaj, how are you doing?
Thank you, Ambassador Myong. I am doing fine. Nice to see you. Nice to see my brother, Dr. Beck, on a very difficult day that we will be discussing a very challenging and emotional topic that had belittled the whole nation and all of us.
Dr. Quack from San Diego, California, how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing very well, Ambassador Myong. My good friend, Dr. Saich, I'm happy to be on your show again today. And I look forward to this important discussion, looking into what is happening in our country, really, from many different perspectives. So I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. For our viewers, the extrajudicial killings that emerge on social media happen in the Mayam county within United States. One of the 9 counties in United States, one of them is Mayam County. And this Mayom County is where also the governor of Unity State come from. 3 young men were fire squad, and the 4th were burned alive. And this is the topic. We are not denying what happened to them, but what we are seeing is wrong. In this country where we live, even a guilty person, even a man that is sentenced to death, he or she has a certain way to die. The question that I want to ask both of you, and you can jump in at any time. As we speak now, we have our community watching. We have our young people watching. We have children watching. We have family watching. And of course, we have people back home are watching as well. There's nobody in South Sudan that has not been angry about what happened. The question is, I want to start with you, Dr. Faj. What happened? Where is the leadership here? Who is responsible? You may not be accusing anybody, but what went wrong?
Ambassador Young, thank again for the question and for this extraordinary topic. First and foremost, I wanted to pass my condolences to the family of the deceased. The families of these 4 gentlemen who were wrongly killed, who were tortured, who were extrajudicially killed with a system that doesn't seem to make sense to all of us, that we all fail to confront a particular language to describe what actually happened. We want you, the family, that you know we are with you. As a member of this community, personally, myself and my family, I have been I've been in pain for a few days saying this. As someone who advocates a lot with so many people that I know about having a nation called South Sudan, seeing what happened, shootings, quarterly, young men like that, and also burning a human alive is unheard of. Not in 21st century, not in the nation that we all advocate to have. So you know we are with you. We are with you, the community of Mayom, the people of United States, and all people of South Sudan. And I also could say the Nur community. And as the Nur person myself, I find no term to describe this. And then maybe Dr. Kwek will have a term to describe it psychologically. If we had at a Nur gone to this level, then we have no society. We lost culture. Because these are things no one will say it has been a culture in Nur. No one would say it has been a culture that has been practiced in South Sudan by any tribe. I don't think even in the whole Africa that a human will be burned alive, regardless of what he or she has done. What we did see is not not just wrong. It's something that could not have happened. With that, now the question of the leadership. I think if you look into the context of leadership, you know there's nothing in life that can be successful if there is no successful leadership. Any success of anything has to do with the leadership, and any failure of anything has to do with the leadership. The failure of having a good leadership in South Sudan, as all this result, as a result of this tragedy, it also results in so many other things that have been happening. So yes, leadership play an extraordinary role into this, not only at the national level, but also at the state level, whether the governor and anyone else involved into this or not, they have failed. They have failed the people of Unity State, of Mayom. They have failed the people of South Sudan. The position doesn't really make a person a leader. You cannot be a leader because of you occupying a position. This is also something that people should actually understand. A leader is a leader because of what you do, because leadership is an action, is a verb. It's not a title. If today what happened in South Sudan, if what is happening in South Sudan, burning a human alive, and thank God, even though what I'm hearing now, that the person who took the picture, who took the video, has also been killed, even though that person died as well because of recording the wrong thing. I think this individual will be forgive in the kingdom if people were to have another kingdom. Because what he did, he brought to light what has been going on that nobody knew about it. And that exactly is what we have seen, is a lack of leadership. The leadership placed South Sudan to crisis, the crisis after crisis, dividing people and ruling them separately, making clans within the clan, creating activities that does not really make sense. That if you have a credit leadership, if you have a good leadership in a country, what happened could not happen because it's wrong. And now you could also see 24 hours afterward, there's no action that has been taken. You are not seeing any action now at the national level of leadership. You also have seen there's a lot of leaders who are holding position who are not saying anything. It's just like nothing happened. Really? Nothing happened? And if you cannot show at this moment that you are somebody that can actually stand for your people, then there's no reason for you to actually claim that you are a leader of people. Because what is being done is wrong, totally wrong.
Well,
Leadership is shown when there is something like this. You show in.
yeah, but
I'm not saying anything, Ambassador Millon, let me finish this. Those who are not saying anything now, they are at the same time agree to what has happened. If you are a leader, whether you are a local leader, a communal leader, a national leader, a regional leader, and you are from South Sudan, leave alone being from Nuer community. If you are from South Sudan and you are not saying anything, this one will go in your story as someone who agreed when a wrong thing was done in the community, in the country, and have not shown the leadership. And whatever you would say, Nick, that you are a leader, you are lying. You are not a leader.
Dr. Quack, Dr. Thach has demand the leaders to come out and denounce what happens. But from the angle of your expert, someone that understands the behavior of people, this is beyond a single person act. And this is causing more and more anger and emotions across the world, specifically for South Sudanese, whether you are Nuer, Denka, Bari, whatever you come from. Because what happened, I'm sorry, but even Jesus didn't die that way. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ambassador Mayong, and thank you, Dr. Said, for sharing this forum with you. Again, my heart goes to the family who have lost loved ones, who have lost those wonderful young men, protectors of South Sudan. So my heart goes to you. My condolences to you all, and to the people of South Sudan who have watched those horrific videos, the burning, body burn in the Tukul, and those that were Pyro Squad. To those who have been watching, who have watched and now continue watching videos online, my heart goes to you as well, because I know how much pain you are going through. In coming from my perspective as someone who studied human behavior, as Ambassador Young put it, for those of you who do not really know me well, I'm a PhD psychologist, licensed as a marriage and family therapist. I also took a very special training in trauma. So part of my work I do on a day-to-day basis is to assess those who have traumatized for whatever reason and treat them. So coming from that lenses, I wanted to tell you what is going on in South Sudan today from my training. So what we're seeing in South Sudan today is something we call in psychology societal regression. Societal regression is when issues piled up, unresolved over time, and people pretend as if everything is fine. And then when issues comes up, when they comes up, we see them in a form of riot, when people rise up and demonstrate. We also see that when people took laws in their own hands, killing their neighbors or killing their comrades, okay? And also you see other people stealing other people's properties, okay? So you see chaos, okay? If not total chaos, but you see chaos that happened in that particular country. So those who are trained to know what is happening in human being when they are deprived for a long time of necessities, they understand why people go to the street. So what we have seen in Mayom today, people call it extrajudicial killing. It is above and beyond judicial, whereby a criminal who commit crime is brought to justice, is tried, is sentenced to death, and then whatever medium of death that is, then that person is executed. A due diligence in law is done, and that is called justice or judicial system. Extrajudicial system is when somebody that claimed to be, a leader representing laws actually took laws in their own hand in a very special way, which we have all seen, right? So what is happening here? South Sudan has been in war for how many years? 50 years. So us, Dr. Said and I, plus Ambassador Young and those who are probably older than us, were born and raised in war, during the war. It is fair to say our fathers coming down to us have been traumatized by this persistent war. So what does trauma do to people? Leave alone those who are having nightmares, night terrors, flashback memories, those who are scared to death. How about those who get used to seeing people dying? What do? They take that as a norm. So death does not scare them anymore. They get used to it because brain does not distinguish wrong from right. What brain takes is what has been persistent in the brain. Those who have been seeing death and dying individuals really get numbed. So what happened? When an opportunity arises to kill another person, they do it instantly, because that's what has been going on. South Sudan has not transformed itself from guerrilla warfare, from being in a war for many years, to a civilized system whereby law prevails, whereby leaders represent laws. So this educates us, as well as those who are non-Sudanese, of the current government we have today, right? A government that is very comfortable in the center, letting things fall apart around them, and they don't care. Dr. Said really put it. If you are a leader today leading the country, and you have seen something terrible happen, and you pretend as if nothing happened, really, then who are you? Okay. Well, I mean, to me, that does not surprise me. Those leaders, um, from the first place, have never prepared themselves to lead. They don't have what it takes to lead. Second, they fought the wars, many wars. They themselves have traumatized. They themselves have took laws into their own hand before. They have killed. So actually, what they see is very normal to them. Okay? Very normal to them. So all of them, the whole entire country is under trauma. Okay? But those individuals who have the opportunity to demonstrate that trauma in them are the ones we see today taking laws in their own hand. Okay? So now we are being watched by our surrounding neighbors and international community. I'm scared if South Sudan tomorrow is investigated as a whole, from the top down or bottom up, because there is something called human right. I would conclude in this manner, calling on Sudan as well. There is such a thing, Geneva Convention, when human rights were imposed, that if someone escapes and go to your country, you can return that to the enemy. If you do that, you yourself is guilty. So whoever captured those guys from Sudan and whoever killed them and the government that is leading the country, all of them are guilty. I hope human rights group will be able to investigate what had happened.
Your audio is breaking up, but I want to bring in. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want to bring in brother William Pay. William Pay is here in the United States and is also someone that not only come from the Nuer community, he come from Unity State and specifically from the very Mayom where this extrajudicial killing took place. William Pay is someone that understands the community very well and at some point related to them as well too. So I want to bring in William Pay and if we can interact so that our viewer will be able to understand where we are. William Pay, welcome to the show. Okay, if you can come back, William Pay, if you hear me, I think you frozen a little bit or for some reason. I can grab you. Can come in.
Yeah. Well, William is on his way to join,
Mm-hmm.
let me echo what Dr. Quick was saying.
Okay.
And thank you. Welcome, William.
Thank you, Doctor.
Let me echo what Dr. Quick was saying in regard to the trauma. Yes, it's true. The whole country, the whole nation is traumatized due to war. There's been some trauma signs that we have seen, but the trauma alone, when people who are traumatized are also pretend that they did not have trauma. When they are committed actions that take them away from the bigger picture of what we thought they're there for. It is not only just making us to think that the trauma might be the leading cause of all of this. It also makes us to think that yes, the crisis leadership that we have, because when we have leaders who are not prepared to be leaders, they emerge to leadership due to what happened or the opportunity that might have arrived, who would want to live on a transitional way of life and have not had the bigger picture of what they want to see as the nation, who also do not sympathize, do not value the life of the other human. Even if they are traumatized, the trauma might just add on what they already have. Because if a person does not value the life of the others, the lives of the other human being, no matter what happened, they wouldn't check them. They wouldn't check them. They will always be the same because that's who they are. I think it's more than just a trauma. Yes, trauma is a big thing, but I think it's more than a trauma. I think that South Sudan has been struggling to have a leader, and the leadership that is lacking is not only lacking at the national level. Yes, it is lacking at the national level, at the higher level, but it's also lacking at the grassroots level, and as well as the regional level. Even us here in the diaspora, I was talking earlier with another American man who did a great job in advocating for the independence of Sudan. When he saw this, he did not believe it. He called and left 3 messages on my voicemail. When I called him back, I did not get him. He got actually sent me a long email, and then I called him, trying to find out exactly whether that what happened did really happen. Did South Sudanese actually did that? And I said that's exactly what we are getting. It is actually true. This man died. What did the leadership in Juba did? What did the Nuer community or the Mayam community or the Unity State community or the leadership in the Unity State have done to ensure this thing doesn't repeat again? We're not calling for revenge, because the revenge is what brought us this. I think what we are calling for is leadership. Putting this to an end means making people behind this accountable and responsible. So I told him, well, we are in communication. We haven't. I'm just like you. I was telling him that. But again, let me hear from both of you, especially William Pay. Please welcome and share your voice on that.
Before you go on, like a fellow, hello, let me just take a minute before you take it on. I want to respond to a point just made by Dr. Sai. So now let's take chicken and egg example. Which one comes first, right? Somebody would say a chicken or an egg. A chicken comes from egg, right? But egg, chicken, is the one, egg comes from chicken. Chicken is the one that produces egg, right? Then you have the answer. Now, I just want to flip your point the other way around. You say, well, yeah, trauma is there, but I think bad leadership, lack of leadership comes first before trauma, right? Bad leadership, trauma adds on to bad leadership. That's your point. What I want to tell you is this. These leaders have been traumatized way before they became leaders. In psychology, okay, in the work we do, someone who is exposed to trauma, a traumatized individual can never be a leader because they will not lead people properly. They have to be treated and be seen functional in their brain, in their mind. Then there maybe they can take a leadership role. So what we're seeing there is trauma first is an umbrella. And then now add on bad leadership. What caused bad leadership is lack of education, lack of proper knowledge. Okay? Those leaders, many of them have never been in school before. Many of them have never been screened by a psychologist to make sure their mind, their brain worked. No. They just took it by luck. Okay? By virtue of being the one that there. They took the leadership, not knowing exactly what is ahead of them. Taking trauma into leadership. That's what I want to correct a little bit. So trauma comes first, and then it produced bad leadership. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. William, to our viewers again, William come from South Sudan, specifically he come from Unity State, and again, he come from Mayom. The reason I invited William is to give us more in depth of what happened. But before I give you the floor, William, I want to highlight some things. This time around, what happened on this video is not the first time. It happened before, we just have not seen it. And the fact that people come out roaring is nice. One thing that is different, I want you guys to add your voice on, because you are South Sudanese, you are expert, your voice matters. Is that for the first time, the spokesperson of the army came out very clear, whether he meant it or not. That is recorded. He came out very clear. Not only that they did not know what happened, not only that they are not part of it, but he even went ahead and said that those who involved will be brought to box. That's for tomorrow. We can't access now. Second, the government's spokesperson also came out very clear, saying that what happened should not happen at all. I'm not exonerating anybody here, but that is a good line. The question here, as we speak, and I want you also, William, to add your voice on it. Who is responsible in South Sudan? That's what people of South Sudan wanted to know. Who is responsible now?
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mayong, and also Dr. Kwek and Dr. Thatch. It's good to have an evening joining you on this wonderful stage and to discuss about the issues that many of us are still trying to process. What had happened earlier this week is very unfortunate, it's sad, and it's disturbing. And it is also beyond many of our imagination because as people who come from traditions and cultures that required some form of dignity, it seems that some of us have not gone through the very newer tradition or even human in general. But it is what it is, and it is what we have seen. There is nothing unique about what we saw. This is the culture that we saw in 2013, and we have seen it elsewhere in South Sudan. So the only thing is that we were able to, someone somehow made a mistake to record. I don't think the person was doing it purposely for the world. I think he was doing it for entertainment or for whatever reason. We will never know, because now that person, we heard that he may have been also executed, and we will continue to investigate and find out. And if he did it for the purpose of human right and recording something, a crime that has been committed, I think that person deserves recognition and thanks, meaning that there are still heroes among us who can do that. To your question, yes, the community of Mayom are also in shock, like everybody else, and they are trying to process as well, because this is something that I think many of us, the manner it was done, it's not that people are not killed, but it's just the way that it was carried out. There is something particular about the way that they did it. The fire squad. I've been in the bush. I've seen a lot, but also the way that it was carried out. There was so much hatred that you can feel among the people who were carrying it out. It was personal. It has nothing to do with how a nation can respond to people who have been accused. Because if I have been if you saw me somewhere in Nashville, and something happened in Nashville, and then you accuse me of, oh yeah, William has done that, you cannot just simply just kill me because I happen to be in the area. Maybe I was not the one. Right. That is why sometimes you let the due process take its course. In terms of responsibility, yes, we do know that the governor of the Unity State was presiding over that killing. He was in the area. He was actually sitting behind the camera where the recording was taking place. There were some pictures that were revealing that he went actually to the graveyard where those guys were dumped, and then he went and stand and took photos over their bodies, and those photos are somehow are going to surface at some point, and then people were comfortably talking about it. People were laughing, people were doing all this, so it was so inhumane. It's just wrong at all accounts. Now, coming to the larger responsibility, the South Sudan government somehow is responsible.
You're
Uh,
muted. You're
Ambassador.
muted, Ambassador Miyong.
Before you go to that important part, there are people that are not even African that are watching. They want to know
Yes,
exactly what happened, what transpired to this, and
yes,
and the reality is that these people are suspect. They are rebels. They were attacked, and they attacked the government. They actually killed people. Don't you think that
yes,
the government has a reason?
yes. Um, in a warfare, uh, the government, those rebels have been operating in the area for the last year or so, and they have
Hmm.
never attacked the government forces, but it was the government who attacked them first. And then in retaliation, as we all know, on the 22nd, that ended on an exchange of guns at night around 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. In the city of Mayom, where the commissioner home was hit with RPG, which is rocket propelled grenade. And that killed the commissioner and some of his bodyguards. And that fight that led to the allegation, and then later on followed by an ambush on the 26th of a convoy, of a government convoy. Now, these are activities of the rebel. We all know the rebel life. The rebel always target the government installation and also any government government building or anything of that sort. The commissioner died as he died fighting. He was not captured and burned or like whatever was done, as some people claim. And we asked them to produce the video. I think none of us. Yes, we saw the hut was burned, but RPG also produce can burn a house. So these are the things that I think those guys were accused because they happened to be in the area. They say that they were in that operation. Therefore, after they left the area, they went up north to their base between the border of Sudan and South Sudan. And later on, they crossed. They wearing civilian clothes that they were killed in to go and buy some medicine because they are also some of their soldiers were wounded. The question is why, military general? No, because they were the one who were in charge of that area. They know the people in that area. They didn't want young soldiers to go and cause problems with the tribe up in the north. And when they arrived, they were arrested, round up by the Sudanese militia, militant who are operating in the area because they were working hand in hand with Juba. And Mr. Toot, the security advisor, had some relationship with the head of that SRSF, whatever they are called, Sudan Rapid Force, which are a militant kind of a paramilitary. Those people hand over these people to the governor of Unity State. Instead of this Juba, which is actually the country, I have never seen a governor who have that powers. A governor, the land belongs to South Sudan. It is the South Sudan government that determines a person can be brought into the country or not. The moment it crosses into another nation, only South Sudan can pursue those kind of territorial responsibility. So the governor made a decision and killed them, executing them, and then burning the one that was accused, that being the one who carried out the attack, and tied him up and also put gas on him and burn him alive and set the hut on fire. And we all saw the videos. I think the images do not lie, and because we do have a live audio of how they were even discussing and talking on how that young man was murdered. Whether they are wrong or not, you are a government. And also, the
Hmm.
moment you disarm someone who does not uh, present any threat to you, I think you have no right to kill that person. There are international norms that govern engagement with a person who is no longer a threat to you. So this is a revenge, I think, the way it was carried out, because the security advisor is mad that his brother was killed. Now, his brother was wearing a uniform. He was not a civilian. So he really misused the state authority and the government position. That is an abuse of power. If he wanted revenge for his brother, he would have just resigned from the government and pursue it in a traditional way where you go and look for someone. But we all know South Sudan. This is something that doesn't normally happen. Dong Samuel and Agri were picked up in Kenya and then murdered. We didn't have a video of that. George Athor was brought from Uganda, killed in the land of South Sudan. So this is a practice in South Sudan. I would say even from the higher up in the government, because nobody has been condemned, no one has been put to jail, and I do believe that this current event, the government of South Sudan will not do anything. They are just making noise. Because why not? The governor has not been recalled. Why not the security advisor has not been sacked? These are the things that South Sudanese are mad. So go ahead, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. I think you give us a very great picture. And what I want is, I intend to translate and interpret what General Galwang Majok was saying just few minutes before he died. One thing that I want Dr. Faj to explain to us, what General Galwak showed on that short time before he died is remarkable. It doesn't matter what happened, what he did, because even we are alive here, we are not judging that they have not done anything wrong. We are saying that as a government, you as a government must have a due process of how to do when someone goes or commit crimes. Here is the point, and that's what I really want to be based of our discussion. Gerald Galwak told our people, and you know very well, but I want the non-newer speaker to hear this. He said, do not worry, but go ahead and lead the country. These are the quotes that he did. He told them that those money will finish. And the part that hit me the most was about the handcuff. When he told them that there's no need for you to use your handcuff. I'm not going anywhere. In fact, you can use that handcuff for your next operations. I will not run out of this house. You know, he was speaking, he was more relaxed, he was smiling, and those who were tying him to kill was more nervous than him. What is going on this man? Is it braveness, or is it what he believed in?
If I can jump in, Mother Young, you exactly said some of the memorable comment this gentleman made that will never go away from the mind of so many people. I watched the video once. I did not believe it was true. Then I had to watch it again. When I watched it again, I had tears fill it in my eye. I was saying, I recall a story that was shared a number of years ago by one of the older men in our village, Kwechar, who would say this, and those who believe in Kwechar will know this. There was a fight that one clan fought with another clan. When they fought with another clan, there was a guy who was trying to run but cannot really run. To him, this guy was one of they call it a man of man, because it's a man who can sacrifice because of the other people, because of the cause that he believes in. He can also give where there are need. When there are issues, he will also express and tell exactly what is needed to be told. He will talk without fear. He will tell exactly what is right because he believes in it. That time when he said this, when they captured this man, They told the other person, an older man, say, "Hey, guy, do not kill this guy, because if you kill this guy, it would be a mistake. Because in the future we will need him." And this is the person who have actually killed people from their side. They wanted to kill his people, but they don't want to kill him, because in the future they saw in him what he will do, not only for this particular clan subsection, but for the entire village and the entire place. When I watched Galwak video and heard the word of not using the handcuff, reserve it for your neck operation. When he says, "Do not allow the politician to use you. You can also shoot them. Lead our nation. Bring peace." It tells you more about this guy. It tells you that he is a leader. He's a man of the principle. He did not go to war just because he wanted to fight the war. He had something that he is convicted to do. And because he saw there's no way for him to go about it, he wanted to leave the message. That he did not kill people. Whoever say he killed people, he didn't kill people because you hate people. It is because these people are not doing what they're supposed to do. That might be the reason. That tells you about it. The other thing that is also telling you about it, it tells you that this is a man who doesn't fear death. And people who don't fear death have something bigger than the life they have. They believe in something bigger than what they have. They know their purpose in life. When you know your purpose in life, that means if you are strategic and you know purpose in life, it doesn't really matter whether the death come now or come tomorrow. That's not really the big deal. The big deal is, you try it. You try it. And if it doesn't really happen, that you did not get to where you want to be, then it's okay. He had shown that. I also believe that he thinks the people who actually try to kill him, they're innocent. He thought that they're innocent. They didn't know what they were doing. He doesn't really want to cut them. He doesn't want to make them fear him. That guy could have moved in the room, and he chose to. He could have just tried, and they could start shooting him there. But he doesn't want to leave that image. So when we are talking about South Sudan, we will be talking about someone like him. When we are talking about South Sudan, we will be talking about some of the actions that are done in the process of having a South Sudan. So he is a leader that we will not be able to find anytime soon. We didn't really know him that much. We all of this on this forum, or those who are watching, have not had a time to see that guy. This guy may have not had enough chance to be anywhere else. But 10 of him are not in South Sudan. They are not in South Sudan, leave alone in Nuer community. So it is a model. You can learn from him. What I would tell people to do, know your purpose. Know your purpose. And when you know your purpose, it will not matter when your time comes. Lead your people with a message as such. And I think the challenge now for South Sudan is, are we going to bring this country to live up to the expectation of people like Galwak Majuk that want to see a country that would live in peace? I would say, is it wrong to kill someone like him? It was wrong to bring them to Sudan by South Sudanese group. It is also wrong for those who actually decided to use the hunger, the bitterness of what happened, the death of their brothers or friends, to try to get rid of him. I think they could have been sent to prison, sent to jail, and even if they were to be kept in jail forever, that would have done them good. Consciously, I don't think they have a good feeling now. I don't think anyone in South Sudan has a good feeling. I don't think we will have a good feeling. I don't think this is going to go away. And I think this will start a new look of South Sudan. And maybe his death will also bring South Sudan to what we would want it to be. I don't know. I will leave it there.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I think unless Dr. Quack want to come in,
Yeah.
there's something strange about the way these people have carried out. And to be honest with you and our viewers, what you see here on video is just that it was just recorded. There are multiple cases that are out there that are even worse than what we saw. South Sudanese have to make a choice. Do they want to continue on this path, or they can change the direction of the country? When we talk about the enemy of the state or the enemy of the people, it doesn't have to be someone who come from outside. It could be the kid that live next door. And it is up to us to correct and to say that is wrong. Condemning it alone will not deter these people. As we speak, they are handing down the opposition group in East Africa. They are paying money that's supposed to be paid to the citizen and building roads and schools. This national security advisor is paying multiple agents to hand down the opposition leader, General Boy, that I want him dead. And the country presidency and the vice-presidency are just sitting and allowing this individual, just as a national security advisor to the president, on a daylight using state money, because he has no bank account that he generates money, but he's allowed to hand down opposition leaders, manipulating peace, and yet the South Sudan government say they don't have money. If they can afford $15 million to go and hand down opposition leaders to kill them, or to buy homes for military in northern Sudan, what kind of a country is that? What will give such a person powers beyond than the state powers? So I think President Kiir have some answers to do. The leadership that is sitting with him also have to reflect on what they are supporting. Because if you eat with thief, you're most likely going to be a thief. If you are judged according to the people who hung out with you, right? So I believe that the South Sudan government, if they are really a government, the position of the RT Gono, as they call it, I think it is time for them to distance themselves from the National Security Advisor and bring them to book, and also the state governor, if they are wishing for that state to live in peace, because that person now has spilled blood. That is going to cause a lot of problems in the state. So if they are serious enough, condemning it is not enough. I do believe that a medical doctor like Dr. Nguyen, who is supposed to save life, not taking life, as a medical doctor, that's how you are trained. Your goal is to save life, not to take life away.
Brother William, one thing I want, and also the rest of our panels, is that as we speak, let's give solutions. Let's give solutions, just like what you say, that the government should distance itself from the advisor. That is your solution. We need solution. We need our people to hear what we are saying. This government is for the people, supposedly for the people. And it's our right to talk. It's our right to say what we wanted to see. So as you are discussing this, as you are saying what you see and what you feel and what you want to happen, I also want you to add your opinions. Because denying what happened is not enough.
You know, Ambassador, if I may, and then I'll be quiet here. You are on here on your program. You're always talking about give peace a chance. But government officials who are actually in charge of the peace are the one carrying this kind of thing. Do you think does this not goes against the very message that you're preaching day and night here? It contradicts you. And also, Honorable Toot is actually the chairman of the peace implementation. Right? So this also contradicts the very message that the government is preaching. Therefore, there are so many ways that the government of South Sudan has to come to terms if they are going to make unity attractive. You cannot have people who are sitting as chairperson and yet they are also killing, right? They are carrying out those execution killing. Then who is going to buy that peace? None. Even if you call me now and say, William, let us have peace as a rebel or in opposition, what do you think I'm going to do? I will not come. Because the guy who is talking peace is also talking killing. Right? It is going to not be easy. Anyway, Dr. Kirk.
Dr. Taj, before Dr. Kirk came, or you also, Dr. Kirk, too, as well, you did call on our leaders to say something, right? Well, someone like Dr. Nguyen Minchil himself, a man that I know very well, and also Honorable Tutkau, they will tell you that this man has killed a government official. He has killed a commissioner. He has killed 10 other people with commissioner. Now, what did he do wrong? If you can explain.
So, can I just answer that?
Yes.
Ambassador Millon, there's a reason for a nation to be called a nation. It is because it is now a system. There has to have a system with a law. A system with a law, and if the laws are not adhered to, if the people are not stick to the law that are in book, then the system will be chaos. There will be anarchy. And there will be just like going to be like a wild animal place where there's no law to follow. When someone kills someone, there are ways to deal it in a system that has the court of law. South Sudan in 2011 signed a charter with the United Nations to join the United Nations as one of the body, and in that, it has actually to live up to the expectation of international body. In the Declaration of Human Rights, there are principles to be followed. And in the article, like I said earlier, Article 5 deter action that took place in Mayo. Article 6 as well, a number of the other articles. That when you capture people, whether they are safe or they are the opposition group or the enemies of your side, other side, and they're now becoming people of war, you cannot kill them and shoot them the way they did. You probably even when we were in the movement, we were rebel. That was also wrong. Like I heard earlier from the spokesperson of the SPLM, of the South Sudan Defense Force, whether it's true or not. Yes, in 1991, 1989, when Nasser was captured from Sudan, people of the war were captured. They were not killed. They were taken to the refugees camp. And the example is a lot. So I cannot see leave alone the fact that the man has a medical field, a life-saving field. It's just like getting to Dr. George Imru and Dr. Kadbel Chamjok or anybody else. Try to tell them, don't treat this guy with wound. Don't shoot him. Leave him to die. They will not do that, regardless of whether that the person have killed their relative or not. They have to treat it because that's their job.
Well, don't forget our topic last time.
Right.
If you want to understand a man, give him a power.
Right. See, the thing is, and this is exactly the point I'm trying to say. I think it happened. The man shift their career and tried to do other career that they did not know what to do with it. They tried to become a leader by occupying the political position without knowing what to do with the political position. What to do with the political position is not to rebel when somebody did you bad. It's to use the law that you are giving people with to do your bit. They can still kill this guy, but kill them right. Take them to court. Let the court rule them to kill. Then the blood will be out of your end, regardless of how bad you bring them here. Whether you bring them with whatever deal that you made, when they are caught and the court deal with them, then you will be out of it. But the way they actually did it, and I'm thankful that this gentleman, whoever took the picture, the video, whether it's already executed or not, he is deserved to be recognized. And anyone who would watch this video, if you know the name of this individual, even if the person is not alive with us, please share that name with us. We wanted to know him. And we wanted to know him because he deserved to be recognized. Because if we have not had this information, these people would be killed on the border, they'd be killed in action, and nobody would know anything about it. But that guilt, that curse, that Galwak failed to say, would harm South Sudan for a long time. This guy, what they felt, how they were brought, because it would have been good if they would just try to give them gun and try to shoot with them and kill them all like that. It would have made sense. Why in the world have you accept this and did it the way you have done it? So that was really wrong. So with that, Dr. Quick, come on.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, William Payne. I think all of us are in pain. What we're trying to do now is to try to make sense out of what happened, really. I want to kind of go over some point that you guys have made, already. And then what happened when a human, when someone kind of face a life and death situation? What kind of reaction happens to you, right? So we talk about bravery of Galwak, right? We have heard Galwak and Nuer saying all that he had said, right? I think the transcript is also there in Nuer, transcribe exactly what he said. So when somebody face that kind of a situation, there are two ways of reaction that you can react. You can either cry and scream on top of your lung, right? Because you don't want to die. You don't want to be killed. Believe it or not, there is nobody, no human being or animal that does not fear death. Death is the most fearful thing ever. Whether you're a leader, you're a lay person, when it comes to that point, you fear to death. It is a death, okay? If you can escape, you do. But if you can, then there is another reaction. A reaction where your adrenaline, an hormone that numbs you when you are in pain. Let's say you get shot. Let's say you are squeezed in something, and then your adrenaline. Okay, so the two reactions are there in human being. I think what we have seen in Galwak, Galwak knew that he was not going to escape. Right? So if you can recall a verse in the Bible, for Christian people who read Bible, when Jesus was executed, 2/3 that were also hanged with Jesus, one on his left and one on his right. The one on his right was screaming, crying on top of his lung. The one on his left say, "Why are you crying anyway? We are going to be killed. Why don't you ask this God to save our soul when he goes to his father home. He was very relaxed. Then what happened to the two men? One acted with fear. The other one had got numbed, knowing that this is an unescapable situation. That is okay? Taking it from psychological perspective. Kalwang knew that in that situation, you see sometimes some people cursing at those who captured them. They know they don't have any way out. They will say whatever they want to say. They will curse them. They will left and right, knowing what do they have to lose rather than dying, right? So that is more than anything is what happened to Mr. Galwa, right? Galwa used that to kind of joke with them, telling them the truth. He was very relaxed, knowing that this is a death situation, right? I mean, I'm dying anyway. Let me tell them what they want to hear, what they will not forget. Let me use this. He could have been screaming. So now why tonight? Right? Ask us, as you speak, also consider what could be solutions. In my opinion, if the government really, we have heard, we have seen the spokesperson of the military, and we have seen the spokesperson of the they were denying the fact that they government knew. They were saying they saw like anybody else online. Okay? It was almost unheard of. A functional government could not do that. That's what we heard. They did not really know what happened. So far, have we seen anything, any reaction, any action taken by the president? I don't think so. So my solution is this. If this government is a government for the people of South Sudan, if this government is a government that could never done such an act, this very government, this very president could summon the unity state governor to Juba immediately.
No,
and
it's
the point,
a parliament that's a month.
Right. Okay.
Order him to come
He
to
could use his executive power. Okay. Whatever that is in the law, it even taking it to parliament by an emergency basis. This unity state governor must be relieved, must be suspended, and somebody else must be appointed to act. That is one. So if the Mr. Advisor to the government has a hand in it, if people are accusing him as well, okay, he himself needs to go through investigation. And to do that, he must step down from whatever he's doing. I think South Sudan as a whole, whether you're in Nuer or from other ethnic groups, you need to see this. We all need to see this action taken immediately. That something is happening. Some people are being investigated. Okay? I think more than anything else, this is an immediate action that needs to be taken as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it would be fair for us to assume that the government, the very top man leading the country, is well informed. He knew. If he does not know, let him take action then. If there is no action taken in 24 hours from this time we were speaking, it would be fair for us to say the whole government is well informed and exactly knew what is going on. Then the country will think about the next action. If there is any next action, by the way. If nothing, then it will be just like previous killing that went in vain.
Thank you.
I did not commend it on the way forward, the resolution, and I left it out because I wanted to give room to what Dr. Queg was saying. I think there are three things that could be done. One, there are things that could be done here in the West that we in the diaspora need to do collectively. Because South Sudan did not come to existence due to the act of one or two people. It was a collective responsibility of all of us. It was all of us thinking of what we wanted. And at the same time, if things like this are what we are seeing now, then we might need to have a voice as a South Sudanese diaspora who came together and advocates going to faith basis to government officials here in this country, all over the world, for South Sudan to be an independent state. Because this, exactly as someone said earlier, is exactly what happened in 2013. But in 2013, it was that we did not all have pictures like this. There was no videos like this. There were some pictures taken, but there was no actual actions that was actually presented like this. But it will tell you this is not the first time. This is not the alone incident. This is a continuation of so many things that have been done like this. So we have to have a voice as the diaspora, and our voice has to be heard. This is one area of our action that needed to be done. The other thing also, we would want to urge our South Sudanese in Juba, especially the younger people in Juba, who have, who believe to have South Sudan, that what happened to this gentleman could happen to anyone and might be continuous happening. So their voice also needed to be heard. If the leadership did not take it seriously, or they do not take an action, and I think the action should have been taken already. I think the governor should have been in Juba, questioned, and maybe actually relieved from his role. And anyone else involved into this could have already been investigated or relieved. And then we should know that the government there is some sort of a government in Juba, even though there's no leadership. So if this didn't really take place, then we know now that it needs to take place, and the people have to demand that. Now, the other thing that also needed to be done, the family of these people, they can have access to the national body. They can have access to the human rights group. One way or another, this human rights group will go after these people from the top to the bottom, because we are not in the world of the last. We are a unifying world now. So the human rights group will investigate this, and can also work and jointly with the family of these people who were executed as such. And pretty much, if the government is not careful, this might tie all of them. It might tie all of them. If the Salva Kiir and his group wanted to clean their end into this, they need to do something faster. Otherwise, all of them will be part of it. Because it is all of them too. There's nothing that is done in Juba that Salva is not part of it. There's nothing done in Mayom that Salva is not part of it. Because he's the leader of South Sudan. Who has access to resources in South Sudan without going through him? It's shared.
Well, that responsibility, that's why we have governor. Before you blame Salva Kiir for these junctions, the first person that should be blamed is the governor.
Yeah, who can remove that governor?
And then now, well, government has a bureaucracy. Who knows? Maybe on Tuesday, guess who will come out? You never know. But here we have brother Doan Largin. He's in the room with us. But I want his shot to be much better. It's not to the quality. Brother Kondial Kel, yeah, you cannot come in unless you have a better shot. Your shot is so not to the quality we have. Turn to your camera, and then we want to hear from you. That's perfect, but get it better. Um, here's we're running out of time here, but we want to get to this. And fellows, you are the experts in your own midst. But our people always react to problems. Dr. Kirk said earlier that traumatize happen before things that are wrong happens. I quite agree with you. I'm not an expert, not at all. But the point here is those kids that were killing that gentleman, to me, Dr. Quack, they are dead mental already. Because what they were doing was not their intentions. What they were doing was not what they wake up in the morning to do. Because after all, not only they know that man, what I was watching and listening and feeling, these people know each other very well, just like us. And that's why even me here, I will be completely different with you. I would even say that what I was seeing on that, even Tutkal himself, even if he said that do not do what you are doing, I think it was going to happen. Because that has been taken away from the system in which the government is a government to the hatreds where people were talking. You hear the Tongnaf very, very well. One gentleman say that you have killed very powerful men. You kill our very powerful men. Who are the very powerful? Those that who died are the soldiers who are supposed to protect South Sudan. I'm not saying that they can die. I'm not saying that they are not like us. But they are soldiers. They sign up to sacrifice their life. That's why you see any soldier, you salute that person. But where did that words come from? You have killed our very important people. Which people? I want Brother William Pate and Brother Dolarjin to answer this. Go ahead.
Hello.
Dolarjin, welcome.
Yes. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I was listening on in the back room. This kind of issue, as most of you see it horrifying. One thing you need to appreciate is that the reason is happening is because of the technology. And South Sudanese, they are very behind about this. Technology is actually bringing good thing on the world and is bringing change that people are benefiting. But the South Sudanese are abusing this opportunity. So now in every nation that has insecurity problem, people are using technology to even protect them. And that's what actually happened in the case of Bentiu. So I was telling people of not trying to be looking at this like somebody is somehow shocking when it is actually a culture which is being practiced in South Sudan. And many of you have said this actually. But I want you to go and look back into our history. Who else in that government now has not done this? If you look at, let's say, the late John Garang went and dig a dead body of General Gaitut, was actually dig out from the grave because people are not happy of what he actually did. And they want to make sure that he's out from the grave and get the punishment. John Garang
But
did that.
I did research on that. I
Okay.
did that with Dr. Graham, and those are essays. You come from Unity State. Tell us something we don't know. Come on.
Yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. This is a culture. I'm telling you, is a culture that has been in practice. Okay, Riek Machar himself he shoved as somebody head from Mayom County. He shoved his head and showed it to the all population. But because we didn't have technology, these things they are not even. It's like they didn't happen. But we live it as experience, my brother. So what is
Were you
happening
there?
here? What do you say?
Were you there when he shoved someone's head?
Oh yes, basically I was, but I was very young. I was a little boy in the area.
No.
So
Come on.
what
It must have been the 80s. In the 80s, you shouldn't be that young.
what do you mean? I'm 70. I'm not that very young. So I know thing in 80s.
Well, you just
I know
say you
thing
are
that
very young,
happened
though. I was asking
in
you.
90. Yeah, but I
Very young.
was young in
All right.
terms of
You know that
I was not in the
it's
military
exactly
then.
why. Brother,
Okay. Anyway, I'm just telling you of things that happened. Kerbino Kwan was actually fired squad by General Gadet. So these things, they are not new. I'm telling you, thing that has happened even recently. Some of you has mentioned. This is a culture. I'm telling you, is a culture in practice. So don't say it like it's you surprise or what. That's what I disagree with people who are actually treating it like a new thing. And actually, I will agree with William Pay to put it right that the 20,000 that were slaughtered in Juba is what actually you should be concerned. Don't try to be diverted by the government in Juba so that you focus on things that are subconscious. You wanted to, the civilian that were slaughtered is
So,
evident that
what
this government
Ambassador
is
Young?
All right.
practicing this.
Okay. Thank you.
Is a law, is a culture that is in
Thank you.
place.
But what I want to hear from you were the questions. Now, go think about it. Okay.
What is the question?
What we need here, guys, is that we are people that are very hurt. There are time for everything.
Yeah.
And what I need from the Legends, it comes from Unity State. We are talking about current events. This program is called South Sudan Today. What is happening currently? I'm not denying what he was saying. He has all the right to say what he said. That's perfectly right. There's nothing wrong about it. But we want to hear their emotional feeling that are happening now. Brother William.
Yes, I think you in terms of the general population of Unity State, Unity State is a state that has been victimized. Even in the war of the 2013, if you look at the cases that were coming out of Unity State, especially in Latter County, that was worst cases. People being burned into. But this burning of things is not something just that happened to Galwag alone. There are so many citizens that have been executed in such a manner. And there are so many records that reveal that the same group that has carried out the killing are actually the same responsible people who were accused recently, even what had happened in Lat, where a commissioner carried out a raid into another county by killing even the innocent women and children. So the situation in Unity State as a Nuer, because it is populated by Nuer, the larger population there are Nuer. As Nuer as we speak, either from east or west, there is a need for us to solve such, to question ourselves what went wrong. General Boy speak about this thing, that when he arrived in Bentiu, he found 400,000 in refugee camp, in containment in these camps called the Unimis camps. But they were afraid of their own children, their own state government, which there was none Dinka in that state. And when he told them to go back home, he was accused of somehow plotting. So nobody wants the truth in Unity State. There is a need, I think, even for this, for an overhaul of the system in Unity State. And from what I know, the opponents of the democracy in South Sudan have taken a deep root in South Sudan. Their forces, these people do not want any democratic practices in the country, and they are manipulating this group. I will not be surprised if they will not do anything even to the governor who has done this to the people. But I do know the people of Unity State will bring justice to those who have been killed. willfully by outside of the norms of the state. For people of Unity State, I think they should be demanding and demonstrating that this government, the governor, should go and bring in a new person who can mend relationship. It's open a new page because these people have tarnished the image of the Unity State. They even fit communities against one another. I can understand the reason that Arjun is saying that this is a minor issue. you know, the very same people have carried out and make relationship hard for the people of Mayom with others newer in the state. So it is very challenging. It is very challenging, and I believe that the good angels in the heart of the men who want peace in South Sudan will look into the matter that the people of Unity State need a new beginning by having a new leadership. And that is something that I think should be demand for peace to prevail in the state. The divisions are very, very big, but I'm shocked also. I'm surprised by the outcry of everybody over the death of these young men who were accused of killing the commissioner, where a senior government official was bitter because his brother was killed, who is also a man in uniform who died fighting. So it's a sad thing, and there is a need. And to the elders of Unity State, from the defense minister to the two by president, and countless others elders, my brothers, Damara, it is time for us to look inward. Nobody will kill themselves to glory.
Ambassador Young is not here.
No,
But
I'm here.
okay, I'm glad we did not continue with what Brother Dahl was trying to visit, because this is going to be a diversion of this discussion, and we are talking on a very on a very critical, sensitive issue that any leader cannot and should not undermine it and understate it and think this is a culture that we have and it could be just treated as business as usual. That is wrong. Anyone who think like that is totally wrong. Yes, there might have been some mistakes that were made before. We don't know. What is being said and what we see are totally two different things. People can say things that might not be true. But what we now see is what we could be focusing on. And the way out for what we see is what we should actually recommend it to any of us to do. I agree with William Pay that the elder in the United States, and United States is where all Nuer came from. We were brought here by Let Jor and with our uncle Nuer, and then of course Chol Kwek here representing that. And then we have Gower and Lot, but the majority of the Nuer are in the United States. This is where we are also failing, and we have to be frank, because the majority
Before you get there,
better ways.
Dr. Tide,
Yes.
I want you to comment on this picture. You have been talking about someone taking picture. Let me highlight these things before you comment on that. Knowing as a journalist, it was intended that this will be recorded. They even prepare everything because into their own eyes, it is justified that these people, they killed the governor. The commissioner. They killed people. So now, in their own understanding, they forgot the fact that even the guilty people, there's a due process for everything that happened to that person. So they brought the camera person. They brought everything. They were not showing it to the world. That's one thing you needed to know. They were showing it to people that are rebels. They were showing it to people that we have got your man and we'll kill him. But now, as we speak, the whole thing shocks the world. And my heart goes to those innocent. Even those you see killing at the fire squad in a couple weeks from now, trust me, they are the one that's going to go to jail. Now, here's the most important question. And these pictures, it shows how incompetent our leaders are when it comes to media. This picture alone tell 10,000 words, as they said. Dr. Thaj, to me, those are the people that were executed.
Right.
And those are the leaders of the state.
Right.
What is that telling you now? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's actually telling me exactly what I was trying to say earlier, that our homeland failed us. Our original place failed us. This is not what they should do. This is not what they should show other culture. This is not our culture. It's not a United States culture. It's not a North culture. It's not a South Sudanese culture. No culture, no tribe in South Sudan that can do what they did. That you go after your enemy because of what they've done to you. You come and execute them, and you put them down to the ground, stand on them, and take a picture to show them, to show their relative, to show to the world that we got the people who have done us wrong, without due process, without follow the due process. Even back home, when we were villager, when we were ruled by chiefs, things like this was not done like that. If they caught someone at the war, they would kill them. If they caught them and the person put down their weapon, even their spear, they do not kill them. If the person ran inside the house, what I heard in our culture, I don't know whether I'm making it up, but I think I'm not making it up. You guys can back me up on this. I heard when someone run inside the hut, inside the house, even the enemy will stand out. They will not do anything. They will not burn the house nor call the person to come outside and get him killed. I don't know why this guy get this culture. They fail us. It's not us. This is not our culture. This is wrong. And if we are talking about the solution, the first solution will come from the leadership in Juba. And all the people in the government and the people who are elder in the community must stand with the people of South Sudan, with the people of Unity State, with North community, and demand justice for these people. Regardless, I don't care how powerful this people. I mean, I would have not, even in 2013, if I caught Salva Kiir after 20 plus Noor were killed, I would not done what they did. I would put Salva Kiir. Okay, I would have to try and face justice. When we were talking about what happened in 2013, even when we were talking about the 20 plus people that were killed, that thing would have not. You can't do that. Period.
Ambassador Young, let me just say a few words. Number one, I want you guys to, when you have a chance, I want you to watch a video made yesterday by one of us, because it was public. It's not really secret. There's no confidentiality needed. The guy who posted a video yesterday, his name is Jok Daydam, Honorable Jok Day. Most of you may know Mr. Jok. Jok spoke yesterday, and he made very, very good point. Okay? So I'm relating this to what Dal Arjun just shared with us. Okay? And then relating the whole thing to trauma that I was alluding to early on. What Dal Arjun just shared with us are some truths behind it. When we speak of trauma, that everyone in South Sudan traumatized, right? Dal call it a culture. This has been a culture. This has been norm in South Sudan. No, that very word it never been part of our culture early on, before the guerrilla called Anyanya went out, rebelled from Sudan, right? So when we had something called a rebellion out, and then war fought in the land of South Sudan, right? That's when atrocities occurred. Okay, the war fought over there kind of changed our culture, shifted our culture in a way where what people normally see is killing, dead bodies here and there. Okay, in whichever way people die, and then people became numb to it, right? That's when we call it the whole nation traumatized. So I heard from that video, I don't know what Jog Dadang put there are all true or not, but Jog really called on a specific event that happened and happened only in Bentiu. Okay, so and so did this, and people were dead, were done this way, were killed similarly to what we just saw. Okay, what we are still seeing. The Jog Dadang called on the people of Bentiu and call the entire Nuer, and also take us back to Nuer culture compared to this current time. And Job even went kind of calling on people of Bentiu in particular, okay, saying people who were brought by that Yor to the eastern and central Nuer do not behave that way. But this seemed to be a practice within the central Nuer, I mean the western Nuer, which is Bentiu, right? He called on certain events. If those were hearsay or hearsay, I don't know. But now, what Dolajan just said, he would have said, this brought to us by the rebellion in South Sudan. But he was dismissive in really seeing this extraordinary event as something horrific, something, extraordinary, the way I just called it. He didn't do it. He just said, well, this is easy because there was soldiers get killed. But the civilians that got massacred in Juba, yeah, that is separate thing. Okay? So now going back to trauma. Those young men who fired a squad, their comrade, had trauma in them and are also going to get traumatized by this. It's very horrifying. They're not going to sleep. Okay? They're going to be haunted by what they saw, and what they did when they took law into their own hand. But the entire South Sudan that is now watching are also going to get the same trauma. Because there is primary trauma when you witness and you experience it, and the secondary trauma when you watch something from a distance. Those of us who are now in the Western world and around South Sudan will also get the same trauma. Some of us will not sleep at night. So those traumas in them, PTSD in them, is going to be triggered by this. Okay? People will not sleep. This is how terrible it is. Okay? If South Sudanese are really, really vigilant to their country, are really trying to heal from all these wounds, they need to put this government on the spot. We can even, individual like myself, I can go tomorrow and hire a lawyer and sue those who carry out that act for my own mental health, mental well-being, because I got traumatized by that. We must not underestimate as the community, as the country, as lay people. We need to consider this as a harm against us. But now let me put a question on William. Another question is just something that when he has a chance, he can respond to it. Joe Day said that this event can never happen in the Eastern Nuer. And Eastern Nuer, I'm calling it from Central Nuer, from Pangak all the way to the Ethiopia border, where Nuer are. He called on this a behavior of the leaders in Bentiu in particular. Does this call make any sense, William? If this make any sense, what is going on in Bentiu here?
I would say that Uncle Jock may have stretched some of it. I think as Nuer, we share a very unique characteristics. But as we move into the cities, people have adopted different cultures. It can happen anywhere uh, in either territory. When the hatred have been sown to the deep, anybody can carry out such a behavior because it is the same behavior that if you kill my brother, I will go and kill your brother. It's just that it is being carried out using modern equipment to terrorize and also to do more damage. Of course, in the East, there is something that works to the advantage. In the East, majority are informed. Majority seem to have both the modern and tradition. So that brings balance. The people in the West, you remember the Anyanya too, have been in that territory for quite some time. So we have been subjected to a conflict for a very long time. So I'm not surprised if you hear of the beheading of led Malin Kawai and others. Those kind of things have embedded hatred among the people. And the leaders of Unity State never sit down and discuss and iron out their differences. I remember in the 90s, in the East, there were conflicts in the East, but the people were able to come together. Church leaders were able to come, and the community elders to heal the community, to forget. That is how Nuer have been doing their thing. But in the West, we have not sat down and healed and to say, you know what happened we need to come back together. Let us heal. So if you kill my brother and we never talk, we never put a closure, Nuer like closure. So those wounds are still being remembered because nobody has brought this community together and say what happened. Let us forgive. Let us let go. Let us move forward. And of course, the absence of religion. Many claim to be Christian or whatever beliefs. I don't think people are sincerely in their heart do have that forgiveness. So there are so many things in play. It is not the culture of the Nuer. It's just the subjugation and the culture of militarization of unity state by different armed groups. You have the Anyanya 2, you have the SPLA, and then you have the SIM and other group infighting among the commanders that bring more hatred between the communities where you see the other guy as, from that clan or from that group. And that's why you see all these things. But the people of Unity State, they love one another. I have lived in all 6 countries of Unity State, except the Panyajar. But I've also lived with people from that area. I live in Lar, my last place.
Can I wait on it? I want to
I think for Uncle Day, I think it was just a stretch.
I want to wait on that. Dr. Thai,
Yes.
Honorable Jodedang cannot speak for the entire village. In fact, he cannot speak for the entire Eastern Ukraine. It is so ironic, and I will not say this live here. On that evening, that Sunday that it was happening, a gentleman here, where I was in Lincoln, was telling me how 2 clans in Eastern Ukraine in 1975 had to go to one of these healing people to stop the fighting. But because one clan was killed, many people were killed on that clan. I'm talking about Ukraine here, where I come from. They went to fishing. You know when you go fishing in April, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the other guy from the other clan strayed to the other side. And this is one of the people that killed many people. So they wanted to kill him, but they don't want the other people to know. Guess what they did? They drowned him Now, to confuse everybody, this is just not too long ago, and this man was telling me this on Sunday. You know, this man was drawn, and when they kill him, they drag him out because they don't want people to know. You know, when people fish, men when they fish in our lakes or wherever it is, they always go roast the fish, right? So to confuse the whole thing, they had to roast the man, not to know that he got killed. That is a true story. The person is here. He might be watching me. I'm not going to say the name, but that is where we come from. That's why I'm saying that they must not speak for the entire village. Must not speak for the entire Eastern Ukraine. But
Ambassador
these
Mayong,
things
if I
happen.
may say,
It only
if I
happened
may,
because we
okay.
have no, like Dr. Tai said earlier, it has to do with the leadership. In those days, the only thing that stopped this thing to happen is because the government came in and to stop all this. And that's why many went to school and stopped doing these things. So, and I don't want to, there are people here like say, oh, Eastern Ukraine that, Eastern Ukraine this. No, no, no. My brother, I travel around South Sudan. I have seen horrible things. I cannot even talk about them here. These are wrong. But I want to read about what Ruben said here before we go anywhere. I think I have the wrong one here. Uh, Ruben says, let me read it to you because I want you guys to answer this as well. If we cannot react to what has happened in Mayom, as Dwal said, from Dwal Largin, as Dwal said, why reacting to anything else at all? We know some of the horrible crimes have been committed by the SPLM in the past or recently, but that will not warrant the argument that the Mayom unlawful killing is minor. This case affects every South Sudanese. The situation points to what needs to be changed in our country for the benefit of every South Sudanese. Before you jump in, I want to tell my brother Ruben, we need to differentiate what happened as a guerrilla war. Guerrilla war has so many things that were not planned. We are not condoning that they can happen, right? Anything that happened before 2005, it was not a government. It was a loose general that were fighting for the cause to become independent. But my brother, we are a Republic of South Sudan, whereby, just like Dr. Taj said, we're in at the UN. I was there when our flag was raised, right? We have to abide by the international law. You cannot kill someone that is under your own custody. Sorry for taking so long. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Dr. Kwe was trying to say something.
Yes.
Yeah, what I was trying to tell Ambassador Mayong, yeah, you're right. So that is something we call, when you generalize people, is stereotype. We call that is stereotyping or is stereotypical. Is when you say they, them, this society, that society. That one is different. I think what York was doing, York is highly educated enough. York served in South Sudan, right? York was not criticizing. York was calling certain events, right, that were done publicly. William Pay alluded to the killing of Malin Kawai. The guy whose head was cut was beheaded. The head was brought, according to his says, but William might be, the witness, probably might tell us exactly whether it happened or not. Malin Kawai head was brought and was demonstrated so people see it. That this guy was the guy who terrified us. It's right here. He's killed. Okay? Is it humane or inhumane? Okay? After all, the person is dead. Why demonstrating his head? What is that? What does that tell us? What does that give us? Okay? It's traumatizing. What you just narrated, Ambassador Mayong, yes, people are not the same. Even in the East, Central, there are horrible crimes committed. But you just put it. The person was drawn. He was killed. But the killers did not want other people to see that this person is going to be killed. They drawn him. They drag him out slowly. In hiding, they roast him. This is exactly what you just said. They roast them. They left them there, so nobody will identify. They did it on purpose. They did not did it. They did not do it in public, so everybody see. It's different. Okay, they were actually they knew that what they were doing is wrong, and there could be some revenge here and there. They did it. They were intended to kill the guy, and they were also intended to hide it. This is different. Okay, that's what I just wanna add there. So when it comes to what could be done, guys, when I call on my good friend William Pay, I was not putting him on the spot. Actually, I was asking him to tell us from his perspective what is happening. What I agreed on, he put it. A lot of wars that were fought in the New Land, 75% of them were fought in Bentiu, between the SPLA and Anyanya too. Okay? And between those that went ally with the government of Sudan against SPLA. Okay? And then that pit, ethnic group that are near sub-ethnic group against one another. There was some point back, early 1990, where Bulwer were chased off their land. They had to go and take refuge to Dinka land. What left? Was nothing. You, Myong, you're a witness. Okay? This case was brought to New York City, but you and me were part and parcel to the class action lawsuit that took place. Okay? That is one incident that you and I are witness. 7 chief, including Chief, I remember his name. I forget his name. You remember him? Yeah, Patai Tut, Tungwar Kwigwangrat, 7 of them, plus Presbyterian church people, were brought to New York, Myong and I, plus our good friend in London called Kwang Rai, were in New York City, interpreting for them. And they were saying what they told us is unimaginable. How Bentiu was devastated by wars. Horrible crimes were committed, right? So with that, people build hatred in Bentiu. They build so much hatred. The boys' castration during 2013 war happened only in Bentiu. I even heard, if that were the hearsays, those people who were accused to be allying with the government or maybe vice versa, when children are caught in between, they get castrated. They will never produce children at all. What says about the future of the Nuer? How about the women that get raped? How about the Nuer young men that was that heard the traditional marking made in Dinka looking marking by the Nuer themselves maybe. So what does that tell us about the culture of the Nuer? I think it warrants a call on the Nuer, not only the Bentiu people alone. I think this needs discussion. Where are we now as a Nuer? It's a huge question to all of us.
But how about the rest of South Sudanese? Doctor, they need you too. Why only Nuer?
Well, when you take an issue, very, very good question about them. When you take an issue, you have to dissect and you have to divide and take it on piece by piece. I am very much for all South Sudanese, if I can help in any way. By the way, there is a show called Health Show in Juba, where I talk on trauma, other mental illness issues. I'm interviewed here in the US. It is displayed in Juba. I'm trying to help people in any way I could, right? I'm just saying when an issue is identified, take that, isolate that issue, deal with it, get over with it, and then move on. The entire South Sudan need healing. The entire South Sudan need to be called out that atrocities are being made. In Bahr el Ghazal, we knew what happened to the young men there, killing even cows that were killed. Those are innocent cows. They're cattle, animal. Why you kill animal? I mean, nobody is immune and nobody is out of all these atrocities. William Pay put it. The war that was fought in South Sudan brought this chaos. And it needs attention. The Nuer, the Dinka, the Chuluk, all the tribes, including Equatorial.
Right.
Thank you, Doctor. And I think Dr. Taj would definitely add something. One of the things about regional, and I think Ambassador Mayong mentioned, the moment you use those guys, then you lose spread in the process. Because I think Uncle Day, no matter how educated he is, I think you should also look at past pre 1983. Bantu was a very peaceful state, and there were no crises. People can travel from place to place, and there are a lot of intermarriages. It's just that the leadership that has caused, and I blame it on the SPLM, by the way, because the SPLM party has taught us to kill and hate each other. Then after the war, we should have had what we call South-South dialogue, repairing what was done. In our culture as a doer, if both sides fight, normally the elders will come and bring both sides together and then resolve the issue. Well, in this case, our leaders in Bentiu, they quarrel among themselves. And can you imagine, Taban and how would it feel if you have Taban, Tutkau, and others having lunch together at the residence of Victoria? What a difference will that make, right? Well, they cannot even have dinner because there is that mistrust that the other guy is out to get me. So how do you see the community that follow them? Their followers. That brings problems. The religious leaders in unity state cannot organize anything if these leaders are not involved, because everybody have their own commanders, everybody have their own so and so, and I think there is a lot that needs to be done. The damage that is being done by these individuals who are operating outside of the law, and I think that's why removing the governor of unity state, I think, may bring about a fresh start. I'm not saying that for somehow Dr. Nguyen is the only worst, but also even former governors who have ruled have also have done some bad things that the people of Unity State were not happy about. So it's a wounded state that need the help of the goodwill of all Nuer, regardless of saying, well, go and fix your problems. I think you do need the intellectual and others to come in and be able to say, our brothers, what you're doing is not good. And here is a better way. Maybe let's have a conference. Let's try to sort things out. Bring these leaders together. The four of us have shared a meal before. I remember at Dr. Saj's house, at Dr. Quack's house. I've been to your homes. And Ambassador Mayong, I think, similar to, we may have shared a meal together at some point. People who eat together don't hate each other, because you still have that point of reference that I met so and so.
Well, when you say people, then you must mention politician. Politicians can eat together, can even marry their wives, their children together, and then the next morning is a different ball game.
For political interest. But let me say this. Let me add my voice to some of the things that you guys have discussed. And I know we are running out of time.
Yeah, I think we have about 10 minutes.
Okay. First I wanted to comment to Mr. Ruben. I believe it's Ruben Garang. I didn't see.
It's Ruben. Yeah.
Okay. His point of wanting to know that this is painful to all South Sudanese, and that regardless of, I think what it meant is, regardless of what had happened during the liberation of South Sudan, what is now happening that we are seeing now should be taken serious, because it's affecting everyone in South Sudan. I think that's what he meant. I would say this to say the same, that in 2013, when crisis in Juba happened, we cried to South Sudanese. We cried to South Sudanese because we knew what happened that target one group in 2013. Might just seem like it only targeted one group, but it will actually backfire and will go to all the groups in South Sudan. But let's get together. Let's take that opportunity to call on the government that is in his charge, that did this harm thing to his people, as a unified group of people. We failed in 2013. We didn't do right. We still have the same government that have wronged its people from that time and still going on up to now. But I think this is also another example that I would want to see. I hope, and I appreciate my brother Ruben at saying that, and I would hope all the others, intellectuals from the other communities, from Denka communities, from Equatorian communities, from Chulu communities, from any other community in South Sudan, if you see the pain, you see the pain of what happened now. You are the solution. You are the solution. And because you are the solution, let us all get ourselves together to call on the government in South Sudan to do what we wanted it to do for the better of our future and for the legacy that we can live on for. Because thinking this is only for this group of people and tomorrow it might end with this group and will not come to us. We have learned from the past that is not true. It is for all of us. And I think this is an opportunity for all of us now as South Sudanese to join effort and to call on this government and to take an action, and if not, let's take an action together. Now, for Uncle Gadei, I'm kind of a person who always say, regardless of what number of people have done in one location, it is not all in that location. And it cannot be termed as belong to that, as whether it's good for that location or bad for that location. Yes, the majority of the Nuer are in Bentu, are in the Unity State. And when we look at the majority, like right now in America, the majority of Nuer are in Nebraska. We will expect Nebraska as the place where the goods of the Nuer can come are. If the people in Nebraska, including Ambassador Mayong, if they are not doing as good as they could in Nebraska, then we'll say, you're failing us in Nebraska, because that's where the majority are. We can say the same thing with Unity State. But we will not say, this is a culture of Unity State to burn its own people alive. No, I don't think that's true. We will not even say, yes, even what happened to Malin Kawai or might happen to anyone else at that time, things like this might have happened during the liberation. But we have a country now.
Yes, that's right.
We have a country now that we can actually look things in the land of the country that has signed a charter, that has had constitution, that had the president. Anything that is going on in South Sudan has someone that it has to be called on, the president. If the president
country has not transformed.
Right? Yeah, right.
The country has not transformed into a functional government, so we are still in
Well,
the switch.
what transform anything is leadership. Because leadership and the system work together. If you don't have the leadership, even if you have the system will not work. If you have a good system, that have a check and a balance, like it has here in America, when the wrong leader come, maybe that system can rescue that nation from going uphill. Okay, like what had happened here in the United States, because it has a strong system. But if you have a good leadership can create a system that can actually survive and grow that nation to what it needed to be. And that's what we don't have in South Sudan. So if one group, one tribe, one section, one region does wrong, and they are left to do that, it is not on them alone. It is the leadership that has the power, that has the control, and that has everything to call off to that, even if it would mean, if they don't have a leader, you could even borrow a leader somewhere and bring it to them and train them. You know, that's what we had in there. That's why we had colonized going to Africa and colonize us and train us to becoming leaders. If our brother in the West do not know what they can do, they will take people from the East and take them to lead them there until they have people there. But I do believe there are
Victor,
good people in the West who can
Victor,
actually, yes, let me finish my thought.
yeah.
There are people in the West who can actually provide leadership, but they don't have the opportunity. And the people who have the opportunity, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And the leader who is overseeing the whole nation is not doing his job. That's why we have the South Sudan that we have. It's not that this group are like this group are like that. I don't think something might have happened during the liberation, and that's right. But we can look at things differently now after 2011, not before 2011, because the culture can be recreated and recreated every time, and this culture is a behavior, and behavior is an action that you take. The action that you take develop the behavior that develop the culture. Not doing that is actually the reverse of the same thing. So even if we were not developed at the time, we did the wrong thing at the time before the independent, things could be different right now. If they are not different right now, we just don't have the leadership, and that's what we have. Victor, go ahead.
What I want to say, I try to interject something so you can continue. I'm not really trying to
We
state
have
another thought
about
here.
7 minutes.
Yes.
Right. So what I try to put the disease, Galwak, who just died, said something very important. You guys allude to that already. He told the guy who were tying his leg and hands, he told them, please do not let the elders mess up the country. Did you hear that? It is on the transcript.
Yeah.
This is the very point now. You keep alluding to lack of leadership, Dr. Said, because this is your
You
area.
know, I distribute. I completely distribute that. I mean, dispute that. I listened to the audio very, very well. That gentleman who gets the interpretation, Dr. Quack, go back again. But if you say that that's what he inferred to mean, I agree with that, because you could have meant that exactly. That's right. But him saying that, it didn't come out that way. Go ahead.
Okay. So to piggyback on what you just said, Dr. Said, leadership, good leadership that we call leadership, is taught. Leader is trained. It's not born. You might be born with talent, but you got to go to school of leadership. You got to go and learn and in practice to become a good leader. All these leaders who are leading us today in South Sudan, whom we can call elders, I am very sure if some of them went to school of leadership, there are very few of them. So actually, they really do not really know how to lead a country. So we are now in the country, dependent country. Our mind and our consciousness is in the bush life. Okay? When
I
I
want
say
to
that
inject something. Are you saying that to be a good leader, you must go to school of leadership?
you must be trained how a leader leads. Yes. You can't be born and jump to leadership. You will not really know what to do. That's
Can
my
you be
point.
trained? You mean you can be trained in school or just being a leader wherever you are?
Both. You got to go to school, learn the theory of leadership, then come with that academic knowledge, put it in practice. You got to go and put your hands up and learn how great leaders are doing the work. Tomorrow you will become the exemplary leader after you have gone through this series of steps. So jumping from carrying a gun, firing a gun, all the way to the throne, so to speak, what do you know? You will actually do what this guy did in video.
But Dr. Thach, we have only 5 minutes. I don't know, but you brought something very important earlier. Remember, you said that we went to New York and we were part of that history of those chiefs who came from Bentiu, 7 of them. I want to remind you of something. You know very well, Mr. One, right?
Yeah.
Mr. One is actually a nickname for the Jikany leader. He was a very, very smart man. He was chosen to become one of the leaders in 1975, and that was 2004, right? You know how revered those lawyers were to these people. They would come when we go to line. Remember what they were telling us? That
Yeah.
there's a reason why these people were chosen to be leaders. Because in the
Yes.
court of law, I remember when the Jikany leader was asked, why do you come and I mean, what will we give you now instead of going ahead? Can we give you, then we can finish? And he said that even in our under tree court of law, I don't tell the people that have a case to solve it themselves. They need a judge. You are not a judge. You see how smart they were. They didn't go to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
They go through the process, right?
Right.
But our leaders in SPLM went through the same process. What difference was it is making now?
I have, well, I don't think they went all through the same process. Our leaders in SPLA, Ambassador Young, have gone through what they call a military line. They climb from foot soldier, from leading a platoon to leading like a brigade. Then now they find themselves up there with no academic, with no leadership, so to speak, rather than command, right? One way leadership. That is the military leadership. What they learn is that. So, with that, they find themselves leading a large number of people. What do they know? They will rule them. The very leadership you just mentioned, you just brought to my attention, when a judge under a tree will not really rule on a case without hearing his subordinate first. And the case is dissected and brought as a finished thing. Then he would just add. Tomorrow nobody will blame him. It was done in the process. The leadership of the army does not do that. Okay? It's one way command and that's it. So if you come from that, what I'm saying is okay. But now that you're here, train yourself. Learn how a country is led, not how a rebellion is led. Those are two different things. Our leaders are leading our country as rebel leaders. It's exactly the same way they led when they were rebel leaders. Now the country is civilized. So calling on that transcript, whether it was true or not, this is the very thing. We can talk day in and day out. The situation, the leadership issue in South Sudan will never be solved unless some of you, Ambassador Young, those of you and those young people everywhere in Africa, as well as in diaspora, get to the leadership of South Sudan. Those who have learned the process of leading, get to South Sudan and get to that leadership. Should our problem will come to an end.
One thing that I can say, Ambassador Young, is that anyone can learn to be a leader. Anyone. You don't have to only be specialized in leadership for you to lead. Because leadership is just like any other field. And but the good about it is it has a piece in everything that people do in life. Now, if you really wanted to lead people, and you are now the head of people, it's just like if you wanted to teach math, and you are now a mathematician, you have to know the formula, or else you are not going to be a good math teacher. Okay, people will not learn from you. You have to know X value or Y values, and et cetera, et cetera. So when you are talking about the civilian leader, the chief, they are practical leader. They learn it as a sovereign leader. They were from the basics of serving the own people. They have passion to it. They have value to it. They learn what is good in their community, what can make people good. If you look at the 3 L's, I was telling you the other day that you have to first listen and learn and then lead. So what they do, they listen to their people. They listen to what their people are saying. That's what Dr. Kwe was just saying.
But there's one thing.
Yes.
And I'm gonna play a double advocate here. I come from South Sudan, and what I saw I'm going to ask you one question. I hope you can answer in 30 seconds. Right?
I'll try.
Where are our criminals?
What?
Where are our criminal lives? Where do they come from?
Criminal?
Hmm. Our
Crim-
criminal, where do they come from?
They come from the community.
They come from the community. Thank you. That's it. The answer I wanted to hear, right?
Right.
Now, here is the problem. Even some of the criminals are even very advisors. Some of the criminals are even the people that are responsible. Some of the
Right.
criminals are very naive, can be even pastors,
Right.
right? But the irony to this, which I think that you cannot brush the leaders in South Sudan with the same brush, is that these people are leading people that have no source of any law or anything. They only respect their traditional understanding of what they come from. Okay?
The criminal, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't call them criminals
Right.
because in Nuer land or in
Right.
a Nuer system, right? If you find somebody on the top of your own wife, right? You can kill that person. You can definitely kill that person, and people will say, "Thank you, you did the best. That's what he deserved." But the very law says, right? There's a due process. So that person, if he did that in Juba, where the central government, he's a criminal. But in the area where we come from, or even not only where, he's actually fighting for his right. So what I'm saying here is these leaders are leadings. The problem is when things go wrong, right? It takes times to change, and not all of them that can. And I like what you said, Dr. Dr. Kwek. We are all traumatized, all of us. Even these leaders, they are traumatized. And if they are traumatized, before you blame them, I think we can ask for help. They need to invite Dr. Quack to have a symposium in the middle of Juba, in daylight, not at night, so that there are some things people will learn. Even myself, I learn every day. Sorry, guys, I have taken 5 minutes myself. Dr.
Thank
Quack,
you, thank you,
Dr. Quack, go ahead.
Ambassador. I just wanted to say a word, and then
Yes.
as we come to a close. So I wanted to thank you and your co-presenters, my colleague here, Dr. Sach and Dr. Crack. It's always nice to be with y'all. And in terms of what brought us to today, um, um, what had happened in South Sudan is unacceptable. It's not the way that we should treat each other, regardless, even when we are at our worst level. As people, we are human beings, and I think we deserve to treat each other with dignity, even if we disagree in the heat of the moment. When it comes to leadership, I think the society does talk about leadership. It all comes down to you cannot really serve people that you don't love. If I don't love you, if there's no love there, why would I even bother? Uh, People are driven by passion. They have something that they want to offer. And normally it begins with love because you love those people and you want to serve them. That's why you get into the service to begin with. It's not that you want the prestige and the name calling. Yes, there are selfish leaders that get into position of powers because they wanted to serve themselves. But I think a great majority get into the public service because they want to do something. If you look at all the liberators, who have joined, what will motivate PhD holders to join the fight in 1983, 84, and 85? But something happened along the way that have changed these people. And I think for us to discuss, South Sudan need an overall. It needs to be altered. It's a society that cannot be reformed by the same actors. It needs a new beginning. It needs a new page. And I hope that sooner or later we can make this happen. I wanted to thank our viewers for turning in and also for being faithful, staying with us. So I just wanted to say thank you, and we'll we'll meet again. And Ambassador, thank you for inviting.
I think it is a closure moment. I also want to say thank you, Ambassador Young, and thank you, my good friends, Dr. Said and Comrade Dr. Fellow, William Pay. I think as we leave from here, I want all of us to think about the next step. What is it we want to do as leaders of the community? Okay? Community is community. There may be a symbolic leadership, but everyone is a leader. You can take a lead in any time for whatever topic you want to do. That will not really kind of overlook or overshadow the existing leadership there. So what I'm trying to go to is think about what we as South Sudanese can do, either in diaspora or back in South Sudan. If we go home tonight, we sleep, we go on our daily activities tomorrow, the whole thing will be forgotten. Okay? What could we do in our capacity as members of the Nuer community, as members of the South Sudanese community? Okay? I want you three, go and think about that. I don't want this to be the last scene talking about General Galwak and his comrade who have fallen dead. Something could be done, guys. I don't know what that is. Go think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sach.
I also thanks Ambassador Young for this, for spending time on this topic, on this horrific things. Thank you so much for doing that. And I also want to thank both Dr. Craig and my brother William. It's good that when things like this happen, we as the leader, because we are leaders in our capacity, we might not be leading the country, but we are leaders. It's good that people will hear us. People will see where we stand on things like that, because it is what it called for leadership. In fact, it's just like if anything happened in your family, and you are there, you will be asked. You will be asked because the people will assume that you know something about what happened. And there's no way you can say, I was at home, but I didn't know what was happening. Because people were fighting in the other room, and I was in my room, and I did not even join to separate them or even join them in fight. You can't do that. That's the same thing. When you are a leader, you are not just only on your own self. You might not have a political position or a public position, but being who you are, and if you consider yourself a leader, you are there for people. And when you are there for people, you might not join whatever effort that is needed because maybe it will be dictated by your time. But your voice matter. Your voice matter. So I'm glad that we all stood together, condemned this bombardix, tragics, horrifics, criminal thing that was done. And we are calling for the government in Juba to take immediate action. We are also calling on international community to also investigate this, to join the people of South Sudan, and also to us, the diaspora, the Sudanese in general, South Sudanese, and Nuer in particular, to stand shoulder to shoulder to put this suffering of our people to an end. Nothing will do it for us. Nobody will do it for us. And our quietness will not really solve it. But there are many ways we can actually be able to address the issue. And maybe we could save some life. Galwa, Majok will not return. The other three gentlemen will not return. But these are just an example of so many things that are happening now that we don't see. Because nobody brave enough to take the picture or video of other things that are happening in South Sudan. Not only in Unity State or in Upper Nile State, or in Equatorial State, or even in Jonglei State, all over South Sudan. So many things are happening. We need to bring this thing to an end so we can have a system, we can have a government, we can have a country. We don't have the country now. After so many years, many of us contributed to the creation of South Sudan. We all joined it when we were kids. We all contributed when we came outside here, where our parents, our grandparents have done it. So we were not going to give up. We would want to continue to advocate, and our advocacy will yield some result. So let's continue. Let's give ourselves homework. Let's see what happened this week. If nothing happened, let's connect. Let's reach out to our friends, and let together come out with something that will ensure justice are brought to the people of South Sudan, to people of Unity State, to family who have lost their loved one. Thank you so much, Ambassador Bill.
Brother William, before you go, let me play this before all of you go, so that will be the last word. Can you hear it?
No.
You can hear. All right. Brothers and sisters, this is General Galwang Major. And what he's saying is, you can see from his face right now, he's the most relaxed, the most happiest man. Look at that smile. He's not smiling as if he does not know what is happening. But what is showing is that he's above what these people are doing. Because even if he's criminal, he deserves justice in a way he should die. He deserves justice for the rest of the people who are watching. He deserves justice for the humanity. But what is happening here is something that can be condemned by everybody. In this country where we are in, my brothers, even killing animals that we can eat the meat for, it become a crime right now. Let alone a human. It does not matter. We're not talking about what he did was right. We're talking about him. The reason I brought this at last is to show what we could have done better. I go more about what he did not say than what he said. A man with that smile, knowing he's going to be burned to life. He knows that his life is gone, but it was for us. 3 of you, you are leaders. 3 of you have faced some circumstances in one way or another. But this community where we are now, and at large, depends on our honesty. They need us. They need our expertise, they need our love, and they need our contributions. The reason I brought you all the time here and call you all the time is because I know in you, you can change South Sudan. God knows every action that we do. The reason that this was on media was not by accident. God is telling us something, and we need to change. It's not General Galwak that dies that way. Many people happened and they went the same way, even children. But if we can see that now, myself, Myong, I don't go for who did what and punish him. I rather go for if that person who did that can change. That would be a big victory for us. I'm so sorry to bring this at the last minute, but I want our people to see. I want our people to see your anger. At the same time, you stop everything that you do. to make nothing out of something that is not there and become something. I want to say thanks to all of you. Brother William, go ahead.
Thank you so much. And brothers, Masalama.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will see you guys on
Thank
our
you.
next show.
Thank you, brother.